Hey guys, welcome back to another video. And today I'm going to give you guys four mental hacks, robotic affirmation hacks. You could call them that if you wish, really to inform our self-talk. It's going to help us manifest faster. It's going to get rid of that internal resistance, those internal blocks that are not allowing the water to flow through, because essentially, the things that we have most resistance towards, obviously those things are what are harder for us to bring about. The things that we don't have much resistance towards, like the parking spot or the free coffee, or if we already have a lot of success, let's say with money or with our health or with our physique, those areas come naturally. Certain people you see, it's very easy for them to maintain their physique. It's very easy for them to remain in a positive state of mind. They don't have resistance to those things. So let's begin here. The first thing that we're going to go into is overthinking. And when you are obsessing, and I'm looking at my notes here, if you guys, because I'm reading this actually from my book that is dropping very soon. If you guys are interested in that, the link down below in the description, you can click on that link. You'll be added to the list where you'll be notified as soon as it's available. So when you are overanalyzing and you're caught in that analysis paralysis, this is when you got to step back, get into that observer mode that we've talked about many times. And you can even go as far as to take this meta affirmation that's like, yeah, I catch myself. I catch myself when I get into this analysis paralysis. I catch myself when I get into that overthinking and when I begin to really start to doubt everything. And I'm always aware of the thoughts that I'm having. I'm always aware of the mental dialogue going on inside my mind. And I consciously choose to change that dialogue. I consciously choose to be aware and to change that narrative to what is going to serve me, to my choosing. These are all things that we can gain control over when we gain the awareness, the perspective, that metacognition to say, hey, look, I am becoming aware of the fact that I am judging myself or beating myself up or seizing up, tensing up. And counterintuitively, you can actually give yourself, in some of these instances, permission to panic. You know what? I'm experiencing anxiety right now. I'm experiencing sadness right now. It's okay. I'm obsessing about this thing right now. I'm obsessing about my SP or whatever it might be. It's okay. The reason my mind is obsessing is because it's searching for the answer, and you can even thank your mind. Because at the end of the day, your mind wants you to succeed. We are, we're geared towards survival, and our mind is trying to protect us a lot of the time. So instead of encountering it with more resistance and beating ourselves up, compounding the problem even further, just be like, okay, thank you, mind, I appreciate it. Now, now that you're not resisting it, it's almost like that Aikido or that martial arts where you like use the opponent's weight against them because you're not resisting it anymore. And it's very counterintuitive, but this can actually work in dealing with this chatter of the mind. When you have, there's this story about the Buddha who encountered the demon Mara, and he invited the demon to sit down for tea. And this is like an analogy to what we can do sometimes when we're having these inner demons. We don't need to, when we try to suppress things sometimes so much, and we're not willing to look at the shadow. And that's what Carl Jung talks about. That's what shadow work is all about. Being okay with it and continuing forward. We might have those dark thoughts, those dark impulses. It's part of the human condition. If we're always suppressing and trying to suppress this, it's going to express in a different way that is going to maybe even be even worse. And you see this happen with people. So we can tell ourselves, what if we don't have the answer? Like with all the overthinking that's going on. What if the answer is something we don't have? Wouldn't it be awesome to take our focus off this and allow it to come to us? Because sometimes when we're dissecting, when we can't stop thinking, and I've run into this problem personally because I am a logical thinker. I want to find the answer. I want to find the solution. My mind is in like overactive hyperdrive trying to figure out the conclusion. But we can say, hey, look, all right, my mind, we can even personify the mind, say, okay, look, you don't have the answer. We don't have the answer right now. It's okay. Let's take a step back. Let's allow the answer to come to us. And then when we're in that non-resistance mode, that's when we get into that yin energy we can actually receive. I talk about the yin and the yang energy on this channel. Different times you need call for different amounts. Sometimes you need that yang energy. It's like, let's get this shit done. Other times you need to just allow things. Sometimes you need to dial up both so that you're receiving intuition, you're receiving, what's going on from the environment, the stimulus that's guiding you, that's actually saying, okay, this is what we need to do while you're taking the action. So you tell your mind, okay, what if we don't have the answer? What if the only reason we keep thinking about this is because we actually don't know? It's okay that we don't know. We're going to ask the universe to give us the answer. And that is how you can step back and allow that yourself to get in that receiving mode so that the answer, you're in the yin energy and you can receive the answer. Because your super conscious mind, your higher self, is tapped into collective consciousness. It's tapped into source energy, whatever you want to call it, the field, infinite intelligence. And when you allow it to be, and you practice this acceptance and allowing of you not having the answer, sometimes then that's when you can get the answer. There's many stories of like inventors that have done this, right? They go to sleep and then the answer comes to them in a dream. And we don't know, the universe works in mysterious ways, right? But this can help. This can actually work very well. So when you're in that logical thing, it's like, okay, logically use your logic, lean into the logic, be like, okay, we don't know. So maybe the answer can come to us another way. So again, you said there's an answer, we don't have it. It's totally fine that we don't. It's out there. The universe is going to bring it to us. Okay. And also it's important to realize that you can obsess about something. You can obsess now and still get what you want later. Again, we're not compounding the problem by being like beating ourselves up about the fact that we were obsessing or overthinking or whatever. Give your mind permission and allow it to do this, and then give it a break. Give yourself a break. Okay, the second hack that we're going into is alleviating ourselves from the need of always needing permission, of this permission-seeking behavior, and really that seeking reassurance. I love talking about human dynamics and psychology because all of this stuff, like at the end of the day, manifesting energy, it's extremely analogous to human communication. I always use this attachment theory where it's like the needy, over anxious, attached person is repellent to the person that they're seeking, right? That you want to go on a date with someone, you want something to happen with you and this person. And the more needy you are, the more repelled that person is. And then on the other side, you got the anxious avoidant, I don't want to look at that thing. I don't want to deal with it. The universe is the same way. Whatever it is that we want, the more that needy energy that we have, the same way it works in relationships, the same way it repels the thing that we're going for. So when we're on the path to manifesting our big goals, we feel a lot of resistance and then we feel like we need permission. But what happens when you're seeking permission? Is a guy going up to a girl and be like, hey, do you like me? Is this cool? That's immediately repellent to the girl. It's just immediately causes her to be like, no. Women are attracted to the guy that is assured of himself, the guy that doesn't need her reassurance, her permission. That permission-seeking behavior is absolutely repellent to people and towards your goals. So we have to learn to trust ourselves. We have to learn to lean into and lean into this fact, because we've been taught, we've been trained since kids that every single thing we need permission. We need, raise our hand. We need to ask if we can go to the bathroom. We can say, hey, is this okay if I'm doing this? And we need to cut that shit out, because as adults, if we want to get what we want out of life responds to obviously there's all these sayings like the fortune favors the bold, right? There's a reason why these things are true. There's a reason why these aphorisms and sayings have stood the test of time, because there's a lot of truth in that. Somebody that's willing to go for what they want, put themselves on the line, is a lot more likely to get an outcome. The guy that's willing to go up to the girl and just straight up tell her, hey, it doesn't have to be in so many words. He doesn't have to be crude about it, but somebody that's going to be direct and express interest in somebody is a lot more likely to get what they want than somebody that's tiptoeing around it, nervous, doesn't know what they're doing, doesn't want to commit because they're afraid of being vulnerable. They're afraid of being judged, right? Again, they're seeking that permission, that assurance. It's immediately repellent on an energetic level to what it is that you are seeking. So, I had a mentor one time that told me, in order to get what you want, you have to learn to lead yourself. You are not, a child anymore. If you're watching this, if you're above the age of 15 years old, you don't need to ask for permission for every single thing. There are certain things that, maybe, whatever, in a certain dynamic, okay, your boss, blah, 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 whatever. But for the most part, as adults, we have to lead ourselves. We have to learn to give ourselves permission. to go for what we want. And if you need this reassurance, if you're always seeking this on a consistent basis, which is from the way we've been grown up, that's fine. That's how we've been conditioned. But if we keep doing it, it's going to work against you. It's going to get anybody that does this and continues to do this. People don't want to give you permission a lot of the times. You have an idea, you want to go against the grain, you want to do something different, or you want to walk up to that girl or that guy or whatever. Many times people don't want to. They're like, why is this person asking me for permission? Why are they putting me on this pedestal as if I'm some sort of authority? You got to learn to lead yourself. So when you're manifesting something new, you have more resistance. You tell your mind it's okay that we don't have this reassurance. It's okay to not be given permission from any outside authority. There's a huge level of uncertainty that is accompanied in the manifesting process or in life in general. In any endeavor that you're undergoing, like that you're undertaking to get what you want, you have to embrace uncertainty. You have to be okay with there being no guarantee. So instead of trying to guarantee it, be okay with it. It's totally normal to feel uncertain. And the most successful people are okay with that uncertainty. Tell yourself, I trust myself. I don't need anyone's permission but my own. I choose to lead myself. And again, this is a decision. You are choosing to do this. I choose to trust myself. I'm choosing to lead myself and deal with the consequences of my actions. I don't need anyone's approval but my own. And you'll find that if you begin to embody this, you're going to feel this surge of power. There might be some sadness that accompanies this. You may still feel like you want your parents' permission or you want certain people to give you that pat on the back. But part of maturing and growing up and becoming a man or becoming a full-grown adult is to cut that shit off. It doesn't, like, to go to your deathbed and still be, oh, I hope my mommy or I hope my daddy's proud of me. You're limiting yourself because they could never be you. They're not in your shoes. They don't have the information that you have. They didn't grow up in the same time that you've grown up in. And that goes for anybody, right? It goes for your spouse. It goes for anybody in your life. Coworkers, friends, associates. You don't need their permission. As long as you're not like doing something that's just hurting people, within reason, you don't need anybody's permission to do anything. You give yourself your own permission. You have to give yourself that gift. So I don't need reassurance. Reassurance is temporary. Maybe it's not something I need to overcome, and not everything can be assured all the time, like 100% of the time. It's part of the process, and I can still get what I want even though I didn't get permission, or even though I didn't get this 100% guarantee for this thing that I'm going for. You can get what you want without the 100% certainty. And you find as you begin to take actions, as you begin to take steps in your life, nothing is guaranteed. We're not even guaranteed that we are able to get in the car and then make sure that we arrive at our destination safely. I mean, tons and tons of people. I was just in Arizona. I was just traveling down the 60 on the highway. 2 days after I got back on the same exact road, the same way that I was traveling down, on the news said this woman veered into a semi truck and now 2 of her kids are no longer around anymore. One of her kids that was right behind her, he was okay, and the other 2, and it's just like, we never know. Life is filled with tragedies. It's filled with uncertainty. It's okay. It's okay that it is. We still show up and embody and do, trading crypto, trading in the stock market. People lose their entire livelihoods all the time. So nothing that you want to do is going to be certain. People get, men get, end their relationships in terrible divorces, and they can't see their children anymore, and they lose half their stuff. And then women run into all kinds of problems and things. None of us are immune to this. So it's like you accept it. You allow that uncertainty. And you say, you know what? I think it's still possible. That's a key phrase you can use. It's like, it's still possible for me to get this. Even though it's uncertain, even though there's no guarantee, it's still possible for me. It's about embracing it and allowing it. You'll only know it for certain when it happens, and you can release resistance by accepting the uncertainty. Release that resistance by choosing to trust yourself and put your trust in yourself. Say to yourself, I give myself permission to trust myself, lead myself, be okay with uncertainty, go for what I want, and be my own inner authority. I choose to trust myself. I choose to lead myself. And I choose to be okay with this uncertainty. The most successful people in the world are able to do what needs to be done with large amounts of stress and uncertainty. The happiest people are also aware that it's not possible to be happy all the time. They did a study, and apparently people in Norway are the happiest people alive. But a lot of them have embraced this fact that, we have harsh winters here. Like there's this, certain things are not ideal, but we're still happy. They pay a lot of taxes, a lot of money in taxes, but they still have a very successful, like thriving society by all accounts. A lot of the times kids will have these big meltdowns and then be completely fine like 5 minutes later. So as adults, we can embrace that same type of way of being. The reason that we don't is because we hold on to that judging ourselves and resisting the resistance itself, which then compounds the problem. And you see how insidious this can be, right? So when we resist our own resistance, but that's the difference between allowing the negative emotions and resisting them. All right. So the third thing is tell yourself, I can have this thought, I can have this belief, I can have this fear, and it can happen anyway. This thought, belief, fear does not actually eradicate the possibility of me getting what I want. Accept the thought and that it's normal. What if I can have this feeling, thought, fear, and still get what I want? You can also try affirming the opposite, that I am safe, I'm secure, I'm okay, I'm divinely protected, I'm fearless. But if this isn't working, go back to the allowing and accepting. It's like, okay, I choose to be, this is fear I'm experiencing right now. I choose to be okay with the fear. I choose to be okay with the anxiety that I'm feeling right now. And even just labeling it, even just the act of just saying, this is anxiety, I choose to be okay with this anxiety, disidentifies you from it. So you're not, I am anxious or I am the anxiety. This is anxiety that I'm experiencing right now. It's possible for me to feel this fear and still be okay. I can feel the fear and do it anyway. Right now, I'm feeling anxiety and that's okay. Another method can be to even express love for that emotion. Like, I love myself for feeling anxiety right now. And it can sound kind of cheesy, but again, this taps us into that non-resistance. It's like, okay, it's like we thanked the mind earlier, right? It's that idea that we can be okay and we can even lean into and be thankful and grateful for the anxiety. Maybe it's showing us something to pay attention to. Forget how weird it seems and just allow it. Just embrace it. Another thing that you could do here is if you were in bed, lying in bed, tossing and turning and you can't sleep, you can grab a pillow, hold it against yourself, and kind of repeat this phrase to yourself and tell yourself, it's okay. It's okay that I feel this way. It's okay to have this sensation. You can say, thank you for this sensation. And there's no rush. I can feel this way all night if I have to. And again, the idea is that by accepting it, by allowing it, by not resisting it, you are allowing transformation. You are allowing it to transform by looking at it in the face. When you keep trying to avoid it, it can grow because you are focusing and directing mental energy on trying to repress it or trying to fight against it, trying to resist, right? Sometimes the most effective thing for me personally, when I'm in these really negative states and they seem to kind of take hold, like they have their own energy and it's hard to get out of them, is doing a guided meditation or doing a breath work. Breath work can be really powerful to regulate the nervous system. So my favorite one is Wim Hof. I'll leave a link to the description, or a link to it in the description down below so you guys can check it out. And really, by doing it, it will relax your nervous, it will relax your body and get you into a state where you reduce that cortisol hormone, you reduce that fight or flight sensation, and really that's just got you all agitated and frazzled and right in that state of anxiety, and that's in any of these really negative states when they take hold. Okay, so the last process here, the last hack on the list is forgiveness. Everybody has different ideas on forgiveness, what it means to forgive someone. Using forgiveness will release resistance that's trapped in the body. There are energetic blockages that occur when you are holding on. That's another way that people say, why do they say holding a grudge, right? You're holding on to something that you can't let go of. some past hurt, some past harm. And that type of thinking also it coincides with the victim mentality, which is to say that the more that you allow that, the more that you allow yourself to be at the effect or to be the victim to what someone else has done to you, the more that you identify with that, the more that you're giving away your manifesting power. And Florence Scovel Shinn's Magic Path of Intuition, she describes this in a powerful way. She says, anger and resentment blur the vision and often affect eyesight as well, preventing you from following your intuitive leads. Both her and Don Miguel Ruiz in The Four Agreements in his book talk about how when you run into somebody or when you have an interaction and somebody says something that offends you, somebody says something that slights you, and again, you are finding it hard to let go of that or finding it hard to get past that, you are taking in the poison, basically, that they've put out. And it's Don Miguel Ruiz describes it as black magic. He says the person tried to send you poison, and if you take it personally, that's one of the 4 agreements in the book, is to never take anything personally. Then you take in the poison and it becomes yours. Taking things personally means, he says, it makes you easy prey for these predators, these black magicians. They can hook you easily. And that's an important point to realize, is the energy, when you're interacting with people, energy will hook like a hook, and it will hook your attention, it will hook your focus. And if they rile you up, if they get you offended and all butthurt and all moved off center, now they've got you. You played into it. Why do they call hooks? Why do they call YouTube and marketing, and why do they call them hooks? Because they hook your attention. And the more that your attention gets hooked, because you are put into a heightened emotional state by something, then you are now at the whim of the person that has hooked your awareness. Anyways, they can feed you whatever you want now, because they've gotten you into this state where you are receptive to what they're feeding you. He says you eat all their emotional garbage and now it becomes yours. But if you don't take it personally, if you remain in that centered state of neutrality that I always talk about here, you're immune in the middle of hell. Immunity to poison is the gift of this agreement, he says, the gift of never taking anything personally. Another powerful hack to this is the practice of Ho'oponopono. And Ho'oponopono is very, very simple, but it's important not to let its simplicity kind of deceive us into thinking that it's not effective, because the beauty lies in its simplicity. It's simply stating in the direction of whatever it is. It could be a person, it could be a circumstance, it could be whatever that is triggering you, whatever that's got you in that state where all of these negative emotions, like I talk about, it's hooked you and you're triggered. You say, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. And by doing this, you're engaging in this act of praise. You're engaging in this act. You're willfully choosing not to resist this thing. Because say that somebody did something terrible, right? Like say that somebody betrayed you. Say that somebody scammed you, stole your money, did something, or the situation's not working out how you want. It's been causing you a lot of anger, a lot of frustration. You say, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. And now it's not about the person. That's what we got to understand with forgiveness. It's about you, because the moment that you are able to transmute that energy that is holding on and is very tense and is very angsty, right? Like this gritting the teeth, white knuckling energy. When you say, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you, you are... You can even put your hand over your heart and say this. You're cleaning the inner sludge. You're cleaning that distorted lens that's fucking up your vision, like Florence Scovel Shinn, that's blurring your eyesight. and the mirror of reality. So like a foggy, dirty lens on your camera, you're wiping it clean so that you can see clearly again. And now you can see things objectively again. And now you can see what steps you need to take and what should be done in the best way to move forward from the situation. You're not allowing yourself, because people make the worst decisions when they're emotional. You know, when you're trading, when you're trading stocks, trading crypto, people always fuck up when they allow their emotions to get the better of them. When you are in that heightened emotional state, because people, like for the trading example, people just keep buying. As soon as something, everyone says, oh, you got to do this, they're like fear of missing out. They buy it at the top, lose all their money, right? And you can see this in very many examples in life, that the more that somebody gets, you know, your emotions get riled up, you make less rational decisions. You don't look at the whole picture. You're looking at it through a very distorted lens. So this technique, you simply, like, by forgiving, you are actively, it is an active process. When people talk about detachment, when people talk about non-resistance, this is a tangible technique that will get you there. Because people talk about detachment, and it can be kind of hard to be like, okay, well, how do I detach? How do I let go? How do I, essentially enter into that state of neutrality? And this is one way of doing it. It's the act of praising. When you praise things, you're actively you're saying, okay, I'm looking at this thing. And by thanking it, and there's another thing you can do, which is even like, imagine like you're spraying with a spray bottle, and imagine these thoughts popping up, or these circumstances, or these people that have triggered you, and you just say, thank you, thank you, thank you, as you're spraying it. It's like a cleaning of the lens, a refresh on the whole thing, on the whole entire situation, on the whole, that's why a lot of times people will wake up in the next day when they're really going through it, and it's a restart. And so you can even tell your subconscious that, like, look, if this thing comes up again, pull this tool up for me. And you can typically release these things when you engage in this. But it's like, you will notice, like, when I do this Ho'oponopono, I feel like a weight lifted off my chest. I feel like I can breathe. When something's really, really under my skin, use this technique, apply it. There's a part of your mind that won't want to use it. There's a part of your mind that will resist it, because it's like, I don't want to forgive this person, blah, 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 right? Or I don't want to, and you might think it's hokey or it's cheesy. Just try it anyway. We've been so conditioned, like, in our society right now, everybody's very, very, very solipsistic. People don't want to forgive people. And again, you got to remember, it's not even about the person. It's about you. It's about your own process. Because when you forgive, you let go, and now you're not taking anything personally. Now you're embracing this power that Don Miguel Ruiz talks about, that Florence Scovel-Shinn talks about. And you are now stepping into your powerful creator mode. You're stepping back into that creator mode, that observer mode. The person that's taking things personally, the person that can't let go of something, is the person that has given their power away, is the person that is reacting to the 3D, is the version of yourself that is at the effect instead of the cause in your reality. And it's important to remember that. It's important to remember that this is really about you. It's about your own process, about you manifesting your best life. It's not about the person you're forgiving. Forget them. Like, forget about how they feel or whatever. If that's making this harder for you to do, just take that out of the equation. Just remember, this is about you. Yeah, I have other processes and techniques for forgiveness. I don't want to drag out this video too long, but I guess I'll leave you guys with this last one, because it's also a powerful way to imagine this. Essentially, again, we're disidentifying from the situation. We're taking a step back, remembering that everyone is in their own world. Everyone is in their own bubble of reality. The next step is to visualize this person that you're mad at and see them as a small child. See them as like 2 to 5 years old. Imagine all the trauma and pain that they may have been in when they were a child, and realize that a big part of them, usually an emotional aspect of their personality, was stunted at that age because they didn't get their needs met. They didn't get what their view on things was warped through whatever experiences that they had. And see if you can forgive the child version of this person. Realize that it was likely this part of them that created the situation with you. Then the last step in this process is to zoom out even more and see that everything is truly working in your favor and not against you. See the gift in the experience. Maybe it caused some deep pain and some hardship, but also realize what it taught you, realize how it taught you, redirected you, and opened up new opportunities that wouldn't have happened otherwise. And this is an advanced process. Like, some of these things, like, it may take, you may not have success with this the first time around, especially to the degree of, how bad the situation was. You may find it harder to forgive the person, but it's something that's worth trying. And there are guided meditations that you can use as well, or listening to a relaxing song as you're doing this, or music that you prefer is going to help the process as well. Really getting into that state, really visualizing it, and really realizing that this person it's like, how Neville Goddard talks about states. It's like the people enter into these states, and it is this aspect, this lower aspect, this state that takes hold of people sometimes. People talk about, your people being possessed. And it really, really does look like that sometimes when people get into these really, really intense states of negativity, of very negative emotional charge. It looks like they're possessed. It looks like an energy has taken hold of them. And so when you realize that and you're able to just forgive the person, you will, by doing this process, you realize that it's not about you, it's not about them. It is in a way, but in another way, it's about energy. It's about, like, what's the word that I'm looking for? Generational patterns, generational curses that people call them, right? And sometimes people that they can't do any better. They can't do any better than where they're already at. And a lot of the times, if they were able to do better, then they would be doing better. But you see people that engage in very self-destructive patterns, and you're like, why are you doing that? Well, they have been taken hold. They've allowed this energy to take hold of them, and they're at the mercy of this energy now, at the mercy of these states. Rather than them choosing to occupy a state, they've allowed states to occupy them. That's what we're doing with this entire process here. By engaging in these practices that we've been speaking about, we're taking back the control. We're entering that creator mode again, where we're saying, hey, look, this is the state that I'm going to choose to occupy. I'm not going to allow myself to be taken over by this demonic energy, really, like this devil on the shoulder that's telling me, you need to do this, you need to get revenge on this person, you need to blah, 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 blah. That entering into that state is you allowing a state to occupy you rather than you occupying a state. And you're going to be able to step into the state that you choose confidently with power when you're able to learn how to practice forgiveness, practice acceptance, practice allowing, release the resistance. And by doing all these techniques that we've gone over here today, that's going to get you on your way. So with that being said, guys, much love as always. Drop this video with a like. Let me know your thoughts down below if you've tried any of these techniques before, if these resonated with you. And I have these techniques as well as many, many more that I've spent years accumulating from various resources that are the best techniques that I have found when it comes to getting control over your self-talk, getting control over your internal reality, which is therefore going to give you control in your external reality. That being said, guys, much love as always. And if you're looking to manifest your dream life 2025, click the link down below. You'll be added to the list where you'll be notified when the new ebook drops. You're gonna be given all the techniques, all the best techniques I've found over the years, like I said. And with that being said, much love. Drop this with a like, and I'll see you guys in the next video.